Okay, let's see. Hi, everybody. It's Elena of the Witch's Box. I'm getting myself adjusted. I am so thrilled to see that you are all here already. It's amazing to come in and look at that chat window and see all of those conversations start. It's amazing. Good morning. Good afternoon. It's afternoon here in California. And can you see my breath? I don't know if you can or not. It's really cold in here because we had a whole dip in temperature. It's super, I should maybe later take a picture and post it on my personal Instagram, but it's beautiful. It's very misty outside. It snowed overnight. It's wet and milty and slushy and cold. And due to an adjustment in our Wi-Fi networking situation, I can't actually turn on my heater because I don't have the batteries for my thing. Anyway, it's cold in here. So if you see me shivering, you know why. But happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. Happy last week of March. As we speak, the book boxes for April, right? Yeah, for April are getting loaded up to the truck to be mailed out today. So those are going to be going out. And I'm just going to roll into the next announcement, which is the Witch's Box. We need some juju for the Witch's Box. There is one item, the coolest item in the box, but this box has got several. Is super delayed. There's like not even a reason for the delay. No one's giving me a heads up on why, what's going on. So let's put some magic together this week for that delivery to get here lickety split by the end of this week because I cannot wait anymore. So that's the update for that. But other than that, things are rolling along. We had, I guess half of Team Witchery met early this morning to talk about a really exciting new incarnation iteration of our affiliate program. So I realize that this doesn't affect most of you here actually, but we've done something really amazing, I think, with the affiliate program. I'm so proud of it. And so that announcement is going to go out to all of the active affiliates April 1st. That's this Friday. And I'm so excited. I'm really proud of this. It's a really gorgeous new development and it's a gorgeous new offering to be able to support other entrepreneurial witches out there. So that I think is the announcement list for today. Let me see what in the world is going on in this chat box. Goodness. Ada, hello. Callum, Emerance, Stephanie, Kay, hello. Let's see. Alexis, hello. Jamie, hi. Tatiana, lovely. Angela from Sacramento. I know. I think the groundhog. I saw its shadow late. Maybe I don't know. That groundhog isn't really bringing it for me because I'm ready. So I walked into the workshop today. I'm like, can we agree? Can we agree that this is the last snow? Because it's beautiful and the mistiness outside is just nothing short of just a mystical walk in the enchanted forest. But I'm over it. Over it. I'm ready for tank tops and t-shirts and like flip-flops. I'm ready. Hi V, welcome. All right, so today we have an agenda. We have, of course, the Oracle reading, and then we also have the Witchcraft Q&A. But last week, and I believe that it was for our live guided meditation that we did on Friday, we talked, I think it was on Friday. I may be wrong. It could have been last Tuesday or Friday. We talked about the idea of talking about peace and love and the bad rap that it gets in the witchcraft community. So we're going to be talking about that as well as whatever questions you might have. Excuse me. And we're going to be reading from a different deck today. It's the Mystical Shaman Oracle card deck by Alberto Violdo, Colette Barron-Reed, and Marcela Lobos. And this is the deck. I love this deck, and because I'm getting ready for the Finding the Oracle virtual retreat, and there is some shamanic work going on at that virtual retreat, I just felt inspired to pull out this deck. I love this deck. This deck is beautiful. Everything that Colette does, I think, is just exquisite, because I also have somewhere close to me, where is it? I also have this deck by her, which is exquisite. Look at this, just even look at the cover. So it's a spirit animal oracle. Beautiful. The artwork is just exquisite. Anyway, so anything that she does, I'm down with because it's so pretty. The other thing, you'll see that I have, every time I come in here, right there on my desk, right there, I walk into my office, I set the intention for the work that I want to do for the day, and I light a candle because, we're witches and this is how we roll. But I was beginning, almost done actually, doing my big spring cleaning with my office, which has taken over a week and a half. And I found this beautiful piece that I love, but it represents, a circle gathering. So every time we get together, I'm going to light the candle just because it's important to honor our sacred space, even when we're just chatting about fun stuff. So I'm lighting that right now in honor of us and in honor of our oracle reading, so that may our guides and spirits show up for us as well. So when I pull a card, they're talking to. Okay, so there's that. And I did pull a card already, so I don't know how that worked. We're going to just ask them to have reached back into the past and given us this card. How's that? This is the card that I pulled. The spiral, it's number 50. The artwork is gorgeous. If you hear noises outside, it's because there's a lot of truck loading going on out there. There it is. I love this card. I love the symbology of the spiral 1,000 years ago in, I don't know, 18 lifetimes ago. One of my very first attempt at running a business was called Spiral Musings. You can't take that, although I don't think that it's taken anywhere. Anyway, the spiral as a symbol is really significant in many ways. And when this card comes up, immediately what came up is just the idea that in our cycles of growth, we have to oftentimes revisit the same thing over and over and over again, but from a different direction, a different angle, in order to really fully and holistically learn the lesson that situation, that dynamic, that circumstance is trying to really teach us. That it's an opportunity, and I think that it's a soul intentional opportunity that we give ourselves to fully unravel and unpack what that thing is that we need to keep circling around and circling around. But the beauty of this is that it's directional, right? It's not a static circle. It's not a closed loop. It's a spiral. You're always, and I think that this is true in both directions, because in magic and in mysticism and in the soul, there's no lineality, right? So while we circle around things, we are ever expanding, but we're also ever going deeper. I think that it goes in both directions. And when we start to mark our growth in our spiritual path, you start to pay attention. You start to notice, oh yeah, I've been here before. Oh yeah, I've been here before, and clearly I haven't learned all that I need to learn, but this time I come equipped with new tools, or I come equipped with new understanding, maybe increased compassion, because that's part of it too. How many times have any one of us said, am I really doing this again? And you get upset, you get angry, you get super judgmental on yourself because why haven't you learned this lesson yet? But over time, part of that lesson is compassion. Yeah. So I love the spiral because it calls to our attention the fact that we are ever growing, ever deepening, ever expanding. And once we start to really pay attention, we can ride that rhythm, ride that circuitry in a way that's empowered, in a way that's more compassionate, in a way that's much more conscious. Like, oh, I'm going through this. I remember the last time I was going through this, I was really going to be needing this, and this as support. How do I support myself now as I go through this yet again as a lesson? And so what comes up for the Oracle read for this week is a question, as they always are. What are the things that you most need to provide for yourself in order to be fully supported while you go through the spirals of your own development? So what are the things that you most need to provide for yourself to give you the support that you need while you go through the cycles of your own personal development? And a witch's life is an ever deepening and an ever expanding one, right? We are in a constant state of exercising. I mean, we're in a constant state of exercising, at least the group that gathers here, and probably a lot of witches, exercising our longing and desire for more, our longing and desire for more understanding, our longing and desire for more connection, our longing and desire for more knowledge and wisdom and power and capacity for connection, right? There's nothing shameful about any of that. We are look, you are all here in some part because you're longing for community, you're longing for understanding, you're longing for education. That longing is sacred. Yeah. And so we long for these things, and these are the things that expand us. These are the things that deepen us. These are the things that empower us even more. And so as we go through that journey, the more mature we get, the longer we're here on this earth doing that, we start to become super conscious and aware of sometimes it's not easy. Sometimes the stretch is hard. Sometimes it doesn't make sense. Sometimes I don't want to do this anymore. Sometimes I don't even know why I'm doing what I'm doing. And when you're feeling those things, when you're feeling those growing pains, yeah, and those frustrations, what are the things that you need to provide for yourself as a mature practitioner, so that you have a gentle landing, so that you have a container for nourishment while you're doing the harder work? One of the things that I've been writing in the last week is the preparation for the retreat. And I think I've mentioned this here on a Tuesday before. We're having our virtual retreat. I'm mixing up my months, but we're having our virtual retreat in a couple of weeks here in April. And then we're having our live retreat in May. And I'm writing up a whole process for the approach, and what really does a retreat mean, and what do you need to provide for yourself so that you're fully supported. Because when you do deep spiritual work, when you do deep spiritual ritual, the way that you expend energy is very different. It's much more heightened. And how do we take care of ourselves? And so that understanding that we're going to go into a process, and I'm going to need to support myself. I'm going to need to provide for myself a foundation so that I can do the work and be sustained. That's maturity, right? That's wisdom. And so the same thing, the same approach, maybe not as hyper focused, but maybe so, applies to our day-to-day life. As we're growing, as we're moving through our processes, as we're moving through our growing pains, as we're moving through our healing, what are the things that we need to really provide ourselves? And this speaks to self-care, but it also speaks to responsibility and strategy, right? Because if I'm going to do 3 whole days of deep, intense ritual where I'm going to be traveling and doing some shamanic travel, and I'm going to be meeting a guide, and I'm going to be doing some divinatory work, I know now from experience that that really drains my energy. I mean, the ravenous hunger is intense. The need for protein is intense. Yes, that's self-care, but the planning and the strategizing so that I have a ground and a seat from which to do this in empowerment and in nourishment, that's maturity. So that is all that comes up here in the spiral. So yes, it is about self-care, but it's also about being a responsible adult when you map out your spiritual path and what you're going to be needing while you do the work. So like that, boom. Yeah. All right. There was a lot of chatty going on in the box. Let me look at it and see what's going on, and then we'll jump into chatter, talk. Okay. Let me see. I love that. Oh, thank you, Emerence, for the candles. That's great. I love it. Hold on. Oh my goodness. I missed a lot of, wow, you guys are really chatty today. I love it. Let me catch up. I saw Tatiana. I saw Alexis and Angela. Oh, okay. So Emerence says last week it was in the 80s, and yesterday it was windy and rainy, and today it's 70s, and Mother Nature is apparently bipolar. I mean, it's just topsy-turvy all over the place. Hi, Jacqueline. V, I think I said hi to V. Yes, that's the other announcement. Thank you, Emerence. Tonight at 6 o'clock Pacific time is our live Witches Book Coven gathering on Zoom. The people that are invited to that are the people who are subscribed to the books and got those books, and the people who bought the single book bundle and got the invite in their email. Once you buy it, you get an email sent to you. You got to look through the whole thing, and then, you'll see the link. And if I'm not mistaken, we have a couple of those bundles left. This is one not to miss. Danielle Blackwood is going to be joining us, and I'm so excited. I love her. The 2 books that she has written, I've talked about here on YouTube. She's fantastic, and this is an opportunity to really get those like big astrology questions answered. So I would take advantage of it. I would jump on it, be there if you've got the invite and you've got the books, and if you really want to be there. I don't really know now. I didn't look this morning to see if we've got 3 or 4 of those book bundles left. Grab one up, and even though you haven't read the books, you can still have the benefit of being there with the author and talking about the books, which is amazing. What else? Okay, let me keep going. Yes, that deck. I know the deck is beautiful. I really, really love the deck. Team Witchery and Bucks goodies. um, uh, yes, the Nautilus shell, the Fibonacci sequence, all of that. Absolutely, it's a sacred symbol. There's a lot of wisdom to unpack in that symbol. Oh, I don't know if you hear it. No, you don't hear it. At least not my little dealio doesn't say that you hear it, but the truck is pulling out with your books. It's very exciting. Um, hold on. Yes, call it Natalie. Hello. How do you consecrate your time to a god? Ooh, that's a big question. All right, let's get into it. But wait, I skipped. Callum said, I'm hoping to find a bit of more of myself on my holiday to Nepal. I have not been to Nepal. My husband's been to Nepal. I got as close as India, and then Mama packed her bags and went home. I didn't go to Nepal, and he kept going. Okay, how do you consecrate your time to a god? Another way to ask that is, how do you dedicate your time to a god or to a deity? Um, you just do. It's an intention that you set, right? So it can be, and it also depends on the deity. An example of that, and here's what I would recommend. There are two things. You could each morning say, I offer up as a give back to the energy field, and as a give back in gratitude, I offer up this day to you. You could offer up each of your spiritual practice sessions to that deity, even if you're not actually working with the deity for that practice time. And then there's also the initiate yourself as a devotee or a worshiper of that deity. So there are different ways to do that. Um, I am a proponent of start with the easy and then get more complicated as you need or as you're called. Oftentimes, when we want to work with a deity and we feel called to work with a deity, we may not completely know yet in the beginning what type of approach that deity really wants from you. And so, a simple, I'm here, I'm lighting a candle, I'm offering up my sincere desire to work with you, to offer up my time, to consecrate my life work for you. You just say the words, and then you open up to understanding and receiving information about, like, is there a specific way that you would prefer that I do this? And sometimes the answers come immediately, and sometimes they take months. It just depends. You're opening up, and the intention of opening up will bring in the information at its time. Yeah. So there are a variety of ways to do that. If you have any more detailed questions, go ahead and post them. Emran says, someone's playing music and talking outside. They are redoing the apartment next door. The carpet cleaner did something somewhere because I can taste the solution. Oh, yeah, that's terrible. It's one of the hardships of working or living in an apartment complex or sharing walls with people. It's always a little bit of a challenge. Peace and quiet, yes. My glasses, I think, are dirty because I have all this glare. And then Natalia, Callum has, I'm sure you've read it already, a response to you. The attention is in itself sacred. Yes, absolutely. I I want to linger here a little bit longer. I always all of my traditions and lineages all obviously meld for me into one. Even though there are deities that I work with in one way and then other deities in a different lineage that I work with in a very specific way. But those things have bled into one another for me. Yeah. And I'm very committed to teaching this path and not necessarily this, because I haven't received permission to teach my Sri Vijaya path, but also I haven't requested it. I'm not, it's for me, it's not something that I actually feel like I'm ever going to be teaching. All that to say that in that lineage, the way that and I wouldn't use the word consecrate my time to a god. I would use it as I'm offering. It's an offering. It's an offering of devotion. It's an offering of gratitude. It's an offering of love. It's an offering of longing. Like, I long to know you more. I long to be with you more. I long for whatever I do to be a blessing to you as well. That is a very particular orientation that's not necessarily common in pagan and witchcraft groups, because so many of us who are pagans and witches come from a background where it's like we were asked to give utter devotion to a deity that just ended up being incredibly toxic. And so the idea of being in longing and in devotion feels very oppressive, as opposed to what this really is, which is a beautiful expression of love and union. It takes a while to get from one to the other, right? And so when you ask that question, that's what comes up for me when I'm working with a deity. It's all a beautiful offering of gratitude and love. It's like, I did this thing, may it be pleasing to you, may it be a blessing to you and to the world. And I am here in a commitment to meet you and to worship you and to give you honor as often as I can. So there's a little bit of a different orientation. Certainly a lot of healing work had to happen for me in order to get into that place. So that comes up as well when you ask that question, even though I know it's not a particularly common conversation in pagan and witchcraft circles in that way, for whatever that's worth. Let me keep going. Oh my goodness, the jumping. Hi, Jennifer. Oh, Natalia, that's beautiful. You were going to volunteer at an animal shelter for her. Yes, that's beautiful. That's perfect. Colin wants Emerence to take notes. Kim says, I'm Portuguese on my father's side, but didn't know him or his family. What practice does the Iberian Peninsula partake in? Oh my goodness. So, Kim, because my people are of the Iberian Peninsula as well, that is not necessarily an easy one. You know, the Celts ran all the way around that area. So there are Celtic spiritual influences in that area. And I have done a little bit of research, and there's not a lot of information there. If you look at like the cultural practices of the ancient Iberian Peninsula, you're going to find a couple of things, and you're going to also find a couple of deities that are not common. The other thing, and I'm really kicking myself because we've traveled to Spain quite often, and we happened to be in a very small town during one of their local festivals. It was a beautiful music festival, and one of the things that we attended was a, a choir of three women who sang in the deep caves of like their ancient population. And they would sing in Spanish, but then they would kind of like move into a combination of different ancient languages that are now almost extinct, that were from that time. And they were pulling not their songs of worship, but their songs of um, like spiritual hymns from that time that they've kind of cobbled together through anthropological study. And my regret is that I was just so taken by the whole thing, and there were so many people, and it was an event that we were at, that I never approached them to get information about like, where do you find this information? All that to say is that it's there. It's just not necessarily easy to find. Um, Portugal obviously is going to be a little bit different. I was in Andalusia, which was in the south of Spain, but that entire peninsula, it's a very small peninsula. Everybody was connected in one way or another. I would start with doing research in terms of what were the ancient practices of the people of the Iberian Peninsula to see what comes up, and then go from there. And hopefully, the other thing that you can do while you do that, like very academic research, is create an altar for it, and really dedicate yourself to being open to the information coming to you. When you ask for the information to come to you, it comes to you. Yeah. But that's a great question. Thank you. Imran says, I'm a super sensitive taster. I smell and taste everything, even in the air. And I was agreeing with Callum about going out in nature, except nature attacks me with my allergies. Man, I feel like the allergy season is going to be intense this year. So prepare your botanicals and the things that you love, and maybe a little bit of the over-the-counter stuff as well, because I think it's going to be intense. Excuse me. Jenny says, how would a beginner decide or learn how to recognize when they are called to a certain deity? I mean, I think that this answer is probably true for all practitioners. Yeah. They start coming people start talking about that particular deity around you, or you just feel an interest. It's almost like, I know some people have been so offended that I've said it this way. It's what it is. It's almost like, you know, when you're in a party or at a crowd and there's that one particular person that you're just like, what's going on over there? You know what I'm saying? Either you're romantically interested or you're just kind of intrigued by something that you overheard them say. It's the same thing. There is a natural interest because if you're being called, you're going to feel the call, and the call is going to translate into either the whole like, I wonder what that's about, or, oh God, I don't know if I can handle that. Those are two very common responses. And so if right now you're not feeling a pull or a like I don't know, for anyone in particular, um get yourself a deck. And I know that all of you in here know a bunch of decks that have a variety of different deities in them. I'm looking around because I had one of different goddesses around me, but now I can't find it. No. But there are a bunch of decks. You can do an oracle reading, right? Do an oracle reading where you pull out a deity and say, whatever deity really wants me to work with them, at least for right now, come through, and you can pull a card. Or if you have an idea, like you have an interest, you're like, okay, there's like these 4 deities that keep kind of coming up, and I don't know which one, I don't really have a pull. For those of you who are subscribed to the Witches box, when you get it, pull out a pendulum and get a board and do some divination that way, where you have a list and you say, okay, let's say Thor, and you hold the pendulum and see what the pendulum says. Okay, Freya, see what the pendulum says. Okay, Kali, see what the pendulum says. And you can work that way as well to help narrow your field. There are times when you get dreams, right? Where the dream comes through and there is an entity there, and they're like, they're there and they're waiting for you, or they're trying to communicate something for you to you. And sometimes you can very easily identify like, oh, that's who that is. And sometimes it takes a while. Sometimes you need to intentionally go into your dream time and say, I don't know who you are. I want to know who you are. Can you find a way for me to really easily get the information? I want to know. And then conversely, if you're not dreaming, but that's a way that you really feel like if you remember your dreams fairly clearly, you can definitely go into the next couple of dream times with the intention of, I want to hear the name of the deity that's calling to me. So those are options for you. And then, like with anything, because as witches, we're our own scientists. Keep experimenting, keep trying new things to see where the channel is best for you to receive the information. So it could be divination, it could be the dreaming, right? It could be the oracle cards, it could be a variety of things. I'm also going to say this because I am a Libra, and my journey with deities, I'm a promiscuous girl. And I don't mean sexually in real life. I wanted to be a promiscuous girl, but unfortunately, it wasn't in me. However, when it's come to deities throughout the course of my life, I've loved them all. And I never, like, especially in the lineage that I have been in for the last 7 years, there was always a talk of like, which one is in that particular lineage, it's your Ishta Devata, it's your patron deity. And I was always like, no, I don't want to choose. I don't want to choose because I want to spend a year with this one and I want to spend a year with that one. And all of it has been just so beautiful and juicy. And I have been super reluctant because I've always felt like to dedicate to one means that I can't, like, sleep around, so to speak. And so I did that. No pressure. And I've learned a lot, and I've had beautiful encounters with gorgeous deities that have informed me and shaped me and kicked my ass in the best possible ways, right? Until just recently, it was like, I've been waiting. This is the message that I got. I have been waiting. And are you done now? Are you done playing around? Because let's do it. Let's do it. And I finally, I'm 50, okay? I've been doing this for a long time. I finally got the feeling of, okay, I'm ready. I am totally ready. I'm both feet in. I'm your girl forever. It took a long time. So don't feel like the time that you spend not knowing is wasted time, because learning and working with various deities is only ever going to grow you and expand you in a really beautiful and positive and powerful way. So don't feel like, oh God, I don't know, and feel like that's a pressure that you have to alleviate. Play the field. That's totally okay. Be respectful. Be respectful and honor the context, the cultural context, honor what that deity is and what that deity has that you can engage in a relationship with. Um, and then be honest. Say, I don't know that I'm going to be here forever, but I want to know you now and see where that leads. So you can do that too. Okay. Oh, Jessica W says, with a goddess like Kali from an unfamiliar culture, Hindu followers use chanting to communicate with her. Do you think chanting is required to communicate with her? No, I do not think that chanting is required to communicate with her. However, there is a lot of power in the collective unconscious that has fed those mantras for millennia. And so work with her, engage her, ask her for what you need, set the boundaries with her that you need to set, even though she'll work with you on that. And then when you feel called, it'll find you. The mantras will find you, but find a mantra and then work with the mantra so that you have the experience of working with her without those mantras and then working with her with a mantra to see what shifts, what's different, what comes in. Because working with her mantras can be incredibly powerful. They're there for a reason. She's pulled those through for a reason, right? And it really, my experience with mantra work, which at this point is fairly extensive, there is a particular type of calibration that happens physically, your physical body and all of your energetic bodies when you do mantra work that I have yet to truly find in any other spiritual practice out there. So open to that. Be open to that, but you don't need it to communicate with her. She will meet you where you are, for sure. And she's beautiful, by the way. A lot of people talk about her like I don't know why I always get so emotional when I talk about this, because I've got an altar to her right there. She's looking over the whole thing. There is so much blah 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 about how, oh my god, Kali's like destroyer, she's vicious, she'll kick your ass, she's really hard, all of this like just noise about her. She is the most fierce mother you're ever going to meet in the most positive way. Her love is it's fire in a way that I can't even begin to describe. And yeah, sometimes she'll shake your life up, but always for the best, always to clear you of the shit that's holding you back. Yeah, when I touched in on that part of her, that was just, she is a fiercely loving mother. I mean, that heals generations of shit. Let me tell you, it's really powerful. So, okay, I can talk about her forever. Hold on. Oh my goodness, hold on. I skipped a bunch of things, you guys. I'm sorry. Hold on. If I missed you, it is not on purpose. I'm trying to go. You guys have been really chatty. Okay, I read that. Wait, Kim. What pagan practice is my question? Kim. Oh, I think I answered that. I don't have an answer for you, actually, Kim. Not a detailed answer, but I have an answer for how to maybe look for it. Angela. Oh, Angela. Dang it. Angela says or asks, what are some reliable sources for stregaria or streganeria? I'm open to any suggestions or leads to check out. Oh my God. There is a woman who does a lot of work with stregaria, and she also does really gorgeous tours to the south of Italy. Oh my God, I'm not remembering. I don't know. I would do a search online because I can't think of a single name. I know that there are some books out there about oh, I just dropped something. About stregaria, but I can't give you a definitive answer. It's not something that I've done a really deep dive into. I know that somewhere, I mean, we're all kind of hanging out in the same social places. I would do maybe a search like with the hashtag, because I know that this person has an account on Instagram. And she's got brown curly hair, and I can't think of a name. I can't think of like anything, but this is the work that she does specifically. And then she'll do groups. Oh, may it come. So hopefully by the end of this, it'll come to me, but I would do a search there. Hold on. What is the name of the deck for today's card? It's called the Mystical Shaman Oracle Card Deck. There it is. Beautiful. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous deck. I'll show you. Let me show you a couple of cards just because I can, and that way I can catch up on the. Okay, so they're really beautiful cards. Soul Retrieval, Middle World, Oop. Flow. They're gorgeous. The artwork is just gorgeous. The themes are really beautiful. What is that? The sun. Really beautiful artwork. Okay. Okay, so Jennifer says, one of the things I try to do is to pick up litter and show my love for the earth. Beautiful. Those acts of service are beautiful to dedicate to a deity. Absolutely. I'm not sure, Emerence, if you're responding to someone else, but I love what this says. It says, oh, a tent by the river. That might be nice, but it's going to have to be warm out and it would be freezing. Group meet up at a river. I'm going to assume that you're probably talking to Callum. Yes, and he says, yes, that would be lovely. Kim says, all I have found so far is carnival. No. You mean carnival, like the one that happens around Lent? Yeah, that's too young. I'm gonna make myself a note because I know for sure the last time I did a very cursory search, there was a list of old deities. Oh, this pen doesn't work. Hold on a second. Here. Iberian Peninsula. This will be good for me too. Peninsula, ancient, pagan practices. So, I mean, obviously we know, right, that carnival has its roots in pagan traditions. Anything that's Catholic or Christian at this point has a lot of roots in paganism because it tried to, brainwash the society and move them over to convert. However, before that, there was a lot going on. So let me just do a little cursory search. I'm gonna replace my post-it note on my secondary monitor for today's stuff and replace it with my little research for the Iberian Peninsula. And so next Tuesday, maybe we'll talk about that if I can find anything. The other thing that we can do is it'd be really helpful, actually, because I know we have a few people in our community that are from that area also. In our Witches Gathering forum, I'm going to open up a thread where we can maybe start putting links to resources there. That might be helpful as well. If you're not part of our Witches Gathering forum, if you go to the website, you just log in. You go to the website, you click forum, you log in, and the minute you log in, you have access to that forum. If you've never logged in before, you just have to create one, and it's called the Witches Gathering forum, and you can create a thread and ask information there. But if we post it there, then we have a little bit of a repository and other people can participate too. Emerin says, here in Vegas, a lot of people are having allergies that the last few weeks. Yeah, no, it's happening. I mean, it's really cold here, but this week it was warm. And for that one warm day, I was like, like you want to take a Brillo pad to your nose and to your eyes because it itched so, so much. It's going to happen. Callum says, I enjoy just having my hand on a bank of grass or a tree as I rest for a while and just shut my eyes beautiful and feel the solid grasp of the earth. Absolutely beautiful. As for being called to a deity, for me, it's been a journey. I started out really identifying with the wolf as a spirit animal, then learned the raven guided the wolf and got interested in corvids. Beautiful. And that's normal or common. Maybe normal isn't the right word. Common, where we meander, right? Over time, we find ourselves meeting different guides along the way that have something for us. And then when we're done for that time, we're led in a different direction. That's very, very common. We'll be talking about that. We'll be talking about our wayfinding spiritual practices and our path working to get there when we do our retreat in April. But I'm also going to be putting out I think I'm going to do like a little mini free webinar here on YouTube in the next week or so. You'll hear about it here and you'll hear about it in the newsletter, just to identify for people, like to teach what is wayfinding and what is path working and how does that relate to our spiritual meanderings and path. That'll be really good to do. Okay, I read that. V says, I find myself drawn to Buddha and the flower faced goddess whose name I can't spell. I don't know who the flowered faced goddess is. That sounds beautiful, but they have nothing to do with one another. That's okay. That's totally okay. You can work with both. Because as I was saying before, it might be that for now, they both have teachings for you. Your soul has something, has a need for whatever they are offering, and is probably responding to their call. You can do more than one. Callum says, from there it evolved into a fascination with the Morrigan and Hermes, I think, Hern, the horned god of the forest. Oh, okay, Herne. Jennifer says, I'm a Libra too, and the deity that came to me is Hecate. Yeah, and she is calling her witches home. She's been for, I don't even know now, maybe 5, 6, maybe more years. Let's be safe and say in the last 10 years, she's really calling her witches to her. Her call is loud for those of you who are really called to her. And I think that there's something really powerful about that, right? There's a resurgence in her worship and in her love. And I think that that's part of our evolution as witches. And not everyone is called to Hecate. It's not like I'm not called to her. I respect her and love her. But she's not the one that I work with. But I recognize that there is a significance to that. There's a significance to the fact that she's really having a resurgence. She's calling her witches home. So I have no doubt that if you work with her and you've been working with her, that there is a powerful transformation there in her for you. Emran says, when I dream, they are intense and scary and nightmares, so I listen to books on tape to keep the dreams away, unless someone has a better suggestion. No, I mean, I think that if that's how you're experiencing them and this is the way that you keep from having that experience, that's totally fine. That's helpful for you. You might want to play with setting a really strong container around your bedroom, your bed, where you're sleeping and where you're dreaming, so that only very specific types of dreams come through. 4 iron nails, 1 in each corner of the room, can help kind of anchor your circle, your like protective circle that you cast before you go to sleep. Having definitely have mugwort under your pillow, like in a little sachet, but you also want to have like black tourmaline under your pillow. You can put one under the mattress, you can put one under the bed, you can put one on your nightstand. I would also add a bowl of salt to your nightstand to kind of help neutralize the energy. You want to create a safe space where you can dictate what that container will let in. If you work with deities or guides or guardians of any sort, you can kind of have them stand sentry or ask them to stand sentry for you. Because a couple of things are happening. If you're having nightmares, it could very well be sourced within you. Your subconscious is working through something that it has not had a chance to work through yet, and you're experiencing them as nightmares. Therapy can help with that, but also acknowledging that you're working through some shadow stuff. There are those kinds of nightmares. And then the nightmares of there's interference that's coming in. And so that's what the circle is. That's what the protective space is about, to kind of keep interference out. But sometimes, even though you've kept all of the interference out of your dream space, those nightmares are sourced from within, and it's a sign that something needs to be worked through. So finding yourself support to work through that outside of the dream time, right, with therapy or journaling or different like meditation work, can maybe also help dissipate some of that, because then what the nightmares are trying to tell you have a place to go. Yeah. Okay. Oh wait, there's more. I am really behind, you guys. I'm so sorry. Hold on. Oh gosh. I think I told you guys that I don't know why the chats always skip. Oh, you love me and my emotional stuff. That's love. Okay, I got that. You guys are talking to each other. Lovely. Jessica, yes. Love her. She loves you. I mean, yeah, I'm excited that you work with her. Um, Kim says, I'm Italian too. Rue, I think, is her first name. For the flowered goddess? That would be beautiful. Jamie, I have pulled the Kali card from a goddess deck 4 times since January. Maybe it's time I listen to her. Any juicy resources to get me started? Oh, hold on. I'm gonna give you guys my back. Um. Oh my gosh. There are 3 main books. When you go to Amazon and you type in the word Kali, there are 3 main books that are gonna pop up for you. Um. Oh, I just saw the back of my head because we're on a delay and I see all my gray hair. Okay, hold on a second. Amazon. I can't believe I'm doing this while I'm videoing, but I want to see because I don't want to get up and pull all that off of my shelf. All right. So here's the thing. The books that you're going to find on Kali are going to be very geared towards Hindu practices that may seem confusing or a little too complicated. Not complicated like they're going to be hard and you're not going to get it, but very multi-layered and very detailed, right? There is a book by someone named Bal Cadman, and it's Kali Mantra Magic. That's what I'm looking at right now. That gives you like an entry point, and that also gives you the kind of entry point that works predominantly with mantras. Okay. Um, but then it's important to understand the cultural context, right, of who Kali is. And so for that, you've got, I'm just going to say this, someone write this down. In Praise of the Goddess, no, don't do that. That's a complicated book. Hold on a second. Sorry. Okay. There's a book called Tantric Kali by Daniel Odier. He's French, Odieer. It's Secret Practices and Rituals to Kali. It's not pagan. It's going to be very Hindu focused, but it gives you it gives you a cultural understanding of how to work with her, and it'll have practices there for you to work with her. Kali, the Black Goddess of Dakshineshwar, which is done. This is a great book. It's heady. There's a lot of information in this book, but it's by Elizabeth U. Harding. And I'm trying to look for the book that I'm looking for, which this is very Hindu, but it's called the Simple Kali Puja. A puja is an honoring ritual to her. A Simple Kali Puja, and that's by Swami Bhajananda Saraswati. Just look up Simple Kali Puja. And then there's the book. This is an older book. It's kind of like an oldie but a goodie. It's called The 24 Aspects of Mother Kali. This gives you an intensely cerebral understanding of her vastness because she has so many different aspects. It's amazing. The 24 Aspects of Mother Kali. And I think that that's all I'm going to give you for now. There's one that I'm thinking of that I can't find that speaks about her and the 10 Mahavijaya goddesses, but I'm not finding it and I don't remember the name. All right, now I need to go back because I lost my YouTube window and I have no idea if I'm even live right now. Oh, I am live. Okay, good. Okay, so I hope that that helped you because that was a lot. Let me see where I'm at in the chat. Rue, I read that. I read that. Italian folk magic. What? Oh. What is a good way to create a spell for focus and productivity? Oh, girl. What is a good way to create a spell for focus and productivity? So I'm going to give you some unorthodox or super mundane answers, or the first one that came to mind, which is I am loving, and I have a list of links in the Witches Gathering forum. Um, if you go to what is it called? What do we listen to? Spotify. They've got a deep focus playlist. There is also a bunch of lo-fi um, videos on YouTube that have music that is there's some sorcery going on there. All of them are instrumental. There is something about having this music on in the background that just helps tune your mind into what you're doing. That is like super mundane. However, magic is about oftentimes altering your state, and there's something that alters your state about the music that helps you focus, right? The other thing is that um, what I've done and what I recommend is that you create two different sigils, for one for each. And then I think you've worked with sigils before, yeah? Um, but then also create a shoal. So you've got 5 different sigils for 5 different intentions, two of which are to have the capacity for hyper focus. That's that what is the right wording? What is the right wording? That you don't want hyper focus all the time, but hyper focus that is at will hyper focus, and heightened productivity, along with 3 other things, which might be you're you've got amazing organization skills, or you acquire really detailed organization skills, and 2 other things that might support that for you. You create those 5 sigils, you activate those 5 sigils, you forget which one is which, but then you keep each of those sigils on a wall somewhere around where you're always going to be, so that that is constantly activated in your subconscious. I have found that doing that with shoals and keeping them like in places that you're like the mirror when you brush your teeth every morning, the nightstand right before you go to bed, right above your desk, maybe in the corner of your computer screen. Like they don't all have to be seen, but throughout your day, those are around you, so they're activating. They're working on your subconscious, and they're working to enhance those skills and that thing that you want to create. I think that's probably the best way to go about it, because that magic is magic that you're working on within yourself. You are entering code into your subconscious, right? And that's where you want it. You want the capacity for hyper focus, or more focus and more productivity. And then on a super, super mundane space, other than the music, time blocking and batching is kind of the way to go. I am like week by week, month by month, not perfecting, but getting more and more adept at very specific, like Tuesdays are a very specific type of time block where I only do 2 different things on Tuesday. And I mean, I rock it because that's the only thing on my plate. I won't usually look at email. I won't look at like a lot of social media. Like I try to keep my plate clean of everything, even though it's really hard to do that. And I only focus on 2 things on that day, and I get a lot done. Same thing with Friday, same thing with Monday, right? So like the blocking out of time for 1 to 2 things max is helpful for productivity, even though you know that you have 1,000 things that you have to get done and they're all waiting to be getting done and they're all high priority. You just can't. You need to give yourself the 2 things that you're going to hyper focus on, or the 1 thing that you're going to hyper focus on, and anything else that happens that day happens after you're done with that. So those are the kind of like mundane practices. But the shoal work and the sigil work, because you're like basically embedding new programming into yourself, is probably the best way to do that approach that kind of magic for that kind of intention. I'd start with a calendar and a magnifying glass. That's funny. That is my favorite deck. Isn't it a great deck? It's a beautiful deck. I love it. Oh, links for resources. Yes. Um, I would appreciate it. I'm digging into both. Okay, got it. Both Italian and Portugal roots. Raven Grimassi is another one for whoever asked about Stricker. Yeah, yeah, he did. As much as I really wanted to love his writing, I just never did. I don't know why. I'm really sad saying that out loud. Um, The flower face goddess is pronounced blood. Oh, yes, blow to wit. Blood dial with. Not yes, and it's a Celtic goddess, isn't she? I think she's a Celtic goddess. Hold on, my phone is blasting. Cool. You're welcome for the nightmare suggestions. Thank you for the Kali info. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Thank you for writing those names of those books down. Okay. We are almost an hour in. I was supposed to talk about 2 things today, and we're like, I don't know, here we are talking about everything else, but that's okay. That's how we roll. Last, I don't know when it was. I think it was last Friday in our guided meditation. We talked about that meditation actually, and now I remember it's all coming back to me. We were talking about, and we had a guided meditation for embodying peace and calling peace in and being nourished by the energy of peace as a way to bring more of that in and also allow the energy of peace to remove from us all the things that were in opposition to peace within us, which is really powerful work. It's a super, super easy meditation. You think, oh my God, this is like so easy. It's not going to do anything. The subtlety actually does wonders if you do it regularly. You're going to find that anything in you that is not in alignment with peace gets purged, and sometimes in an easy way and sometimes not so easy. Yeah. And because of that conversation and because of that meditation, we talked about like you can interchange peace for love and for and also have that much of a powerful experience. We've worked with love before in different ways, and this is another way that you can work with love. And in there I said, look, there is a lot of like there's a lot of like, I'm losing my words, oh my God, backlash. There's a lot of backlash around like being love and light and love and peace. And it's like, if you're into love and peace and you're a witch, then you're one of those new agey witches and you're like, you know, spiritually bypassing. And there's a lot of blah, blah, blah about too many things. And we need to have the discernment to cut through a lot of this crap. Witches, particularly right now in the public sphere of all of the thousands of social media platforms that we're all on and talking about witchcraft, there's a lot of emphasis on divination. There's a lot of emphasis on magic and spells. There's a lot of emphasis on power. There's a lot of emphasis, even not as much, but more, a lot of emphasis on shadow work and on working with deities or not, and ancestors, right? Those are the things that you kind of, for the most part, hear the most about. And secondary to all that, potentially working with botanicals and working with healing and that kind of branch. Very little do we talk about the true connected spirituality of being a witch and what that really means. And at the heart of that, where's the love and where's the peace? And when I say that, I don't mean the whitewashy, bypassy, like, oh, it's all love, there's no conflict. That is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about love as a fabric, energetic, that holds it all together, that net that keeps us all interconnected. There's not enough conversation about that. And in this very unconscious, knee jerk, let's jump on the bandwagon and not be like that witch where I'm all love and light, we really degrade a very powerful and incredibly valuable energetic stream that we should all be tapping into for our healing, for our unification, for our connection, and for our energetic magic. And so that's really all I have to say about that, other than to say that I want to ask all of you, what does love have to do with your witchcraft path? Does it? And there's no judgment here. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But is there room for us to really look at being a witch as a holistic spirituality and not just this very linear path towards, let me be really good at manifesting $500 at the end of the week, right? Because that foundation, that energetic foundation that creates a deeper connection to the existence of things seen and unseen, expands us, it grows us, it empowers us, it absolutely fuels our magical power. And there's not enough conversation about what that foundation is. This is why we're going back to the beginning, but in a deep way, in a, perhaps someone said, oh my God, this, the Finding the Oracle retreat, someone said this sounds way too advanced for me, and it's like, it's not. It is, but it's not, because you're going to learn that whole thing. But let's go back to the foundation of what ground are we walking on? What does a holistic witchcraft look like? What does it entail? And what can it, because we are so very transactional in our culture, what does it get you? Hopefully at one point we'll be in a place where we don't have to have that question or conversation anymore, because it won't matter what it gets us and doesn't get us. We'll just be in it. But for now, understanding that strategically, when we try to add things to ourselves in our wisdom, in our learning, in our expansion as witches, it creates a ground on which to walk on, and which to be supported on, and on which to draw resources from in order to be who we want to be in the world as a witch. All right. So like that's a lot of talking. I don't even know that any of you, maybe Emerence and Callum, were here last week when we talked about that. Yes. Okay, I'm going to switch back to that topic because I'm super delayed on the conversation. Bladued. Bladued. It's a Welsh. Yeah, it's a Welsh pronunciation, and I can never say anything in Welsh. So that's how I know it. Bladued or Blodued. Bladued? Like that. And then Lee says, I think it's called something like the Pomodoro method. Yes, the Pomodoro method is really fantastic, because when you time block in 20-minute chunks, there's all this scientific research around, your brain can really only hyper focus on something for a very short amount of time, and then you have to stop. You need a break, and then you can go back to the task. But you can get a Pomodoro app for free on probably both types of phones, where it's just like a little tomato, and it's a little tomato timer, and it times you out for 20 minutes, and then you stop, take a break, and then you come back. That can be a really helpful trick as well. Oh, yeah, hold on. That really seems easier way to say it, Colin. Thank you, no problem. Show. I don't know, Colin, why YouTube insists on like hiding what you say when you say it with emojis until I say it's okay. It's like, I don't get it. Hi, Iron. Welcome. I have been working on my hang-ups with the term witch from Catholic upbringing. Oh my God, haven't we all? Jessica says Tantric Visions of the Divine Feminine. Okay, yeah, that's... Oh, yeah. Tantric Visions of the Divine Feminine, the 10 Mahavijjas by Frawley, right? Is it David Frawley? I think that's the... So that book, I think I've talked about this book before. That book goes into a description of the 10 Mahavijjas. Kali is one of them. And it is like quantum physics meets spirituality. It describes the characteristics and the powers of each of these deities in a way unlike any book I've ever read. It is mind-blowing, because I mean, I've had that book. I haven't read it in a while, but I've had it since I was like 26, 25, so over 25 years. And every single time I read one of those chapters, my mind is blown. So it's an Ayurvedic Hindu quantum physics type of approach to each of the powers and characteristics of each of these deities. I highly recommend it. You're not going to, it's not, the whole book is not on Kali, but it's still really a powerful book that it's one of, it's one of the books that I've actually bought 3 times because I've destroyed so many of them over time. Hold on. Iron said, I put working with my inner witch on my vision intention board for this year. Beautiful. Lay says, love has everything to do with my craft. Beautiful. It is the creative force of the universe, but it is not easy work and doesn't always feel good. The tough work of love demands accountability. Absolutely. And love, this is one of the things that I repeat over and over again, and I cannot take credit for this. I got this from Marianne Williamson, but love will bring up every single thing in you, unlike itself, to clear it out, to be assessed, to be looked at, faced, and then released. It is not easy work. It is a field of energy that permeates everything in existence. It's not just the mwah, 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 love you, kissy. No, it is a field of connection and a field of embrace that is at the foundation of everything. Beyond the the small, limited definitions that humans have created for it. Beyond the popcorn bubblegum movie like idea of what love is, it is a field. And um, because it is connected to everything, running that field, walking that field, embodying that field, absolutely influences your capacity for healing, your capacity for magic, your capacity for communicating, and for accessing and connecting to everything, the seen and the unseen, the elementals, the human, the not human, right? Animals, all of it. There is a lot to be, I don't want to say the word mind, but there's a lot to be experienced by working in that field, for sure. Callum says, for me, my craft helps me love myself and the world a little more. Yes, beautiful. Emran says, Blodwed, Blodu. I know, I can't pronounce it. I don't even want to say it because I feel like I'm offending her by not pronouncing her name correctly. Is the wife of Lula Gifes or Gifts in Welsh mythology. She was made from the flowers of blue, meadow, sweet, and oak. Oh, beautiful. By the magicians of Math and Gwydion, and is a central figure in the math fab. I cannot pronounce any of these words. And last of the four branches of the Mabinogi. Clearly, Elena does not operate in the Welsh world at all. Iron says there is so much knowledge and companionship in this group. Oh, thank you for saying that. I'm so happy that you think that. I'm the research gal. Yes, Emerens will give us the deets. Okay, so that's it. We have been on here for a little bit over an hour. Tonight, you guys, tonight at 6 o'clock Pacific time in California on Zoom, for those of you who were subscribed to the books and got the A Lantern in the Dark book and the Lunar Node book. We're going to be talking with Danielle Blackwood, the author of A Lantern in the Dark, tonight. I'm so excited. So be there, please, because it's going to be amazing. Bring all of your astrology questions. And even if you haven't finished reading the books, that's okay. You can come, you can learn, you can communicate with her, and she's wonderful. And same thing with, I know that a lot of you were saying that the Lunar Node book was pretty advanced. It is. So this is also a place to bring those questions. If you were not subscribed and if you did not receive the single book bundle for that for last month, I think that we have, I don't even know, I should look. I think we have a handful of those left, maybe 2 or 3 left of those if you want to buy them. Obviously, you're not going to get the books in time for the live tonight, but you'll get the invite to the live tonight, which means that before you get the book, you'll have an opportunity to sit with the author and hear about her process and also what wisdom she can share with you about astrology and how it applies to you and your spiritual path. So like that. Wonderful. Hi, Crystal. Mara Starling is fantastic for the Welsh mythology, witchcraft, and culture. Beautiful. Thank you for that resource. Yes, Emerence has great Google fingers. She's our Googler. Wonderful. And I'm not going to forget Iberian Peninsula on our forum, the Witches Gathering forum, which is accessible and free to everyone who just registers for an account. You don't have to pay anything. It's free, but the registration keeps everything kind of private. Okay, so yes, take notes for each other. Have a wonderful week. I will be back on, well, oh, wait, there's more. One more last thing. Tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific time here on the YouTubes is our monthly live Witch Box Q&A. So the box for this month is the hex twisting box or the unhexing box. Whatever questions you have about unhexing, whatever questions you have about that box, bring them. If you didn't get the box because you weren't subscribed, you can still join in. It's live, it's free, it's here. But it's really designed to talk about that topic that we covered in the Witches Box for this month. So that's happening tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific time here live on the YouTubes. And then Friday, we have at 10 a.m. Pacific time, we have our live guided meditation here as well on Friday. So we have a lot going on. It's a big week. All right, my loves, I'm going to go look for some batteries so that I can turn on my heater because I'm freezing. And I will see you all, hopefully I'll see you tomorrow. All right, take care. Bye.